Paranoid because
if you get,
I've been slandered in the press and taken out of context. So I'm always a little careful these days.
and you know what? We'll respect that, because if you got some stuff where you don't want it on film, just ask us and he'll put the camera down, because you know what? Part of the fun of having a relationship with the users is that we can say things. When Mina gets riled up, she tells the truth, but she gets riled up.
Fair enough.
But
Okay,
you know, you learn. Anyway.
let's go on. Let me just introduce myself a little bit, so you know. Just for some context, who I am. I actually was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. I'm a Midwestern boy. I have 5 brothers, and I got married very young. I've been married 35 years now. My wife and I have been all around the country. I decided to leave Columbus to nice climate at 23, so we had no job. We picked up our bags, went to San Diego Trolley. I was 29 years old, working as a janitor at Bond's grocery store. The guy worked next to me in produce, father worked for the railroad. So my wife got pregnant. He said, "You need a job?" I said, "Yeah." The next day I'm working at the railroad. It so happened to be that was the San Diego and the Eastern area. I was taken over by the Metropolitan Transit Development Board with the San Diego Trolley. So that's how I got into business, from the railroad to the trolley. And I dispatched the first revenue train in San Diego Trolley's history, which is my claim to fame. I worked just about every particular position at the railroads and the light rail, and Booz Allen hired me in '88. I moved on to LA and wrote the first activation plan for the red line and the blue line. And then St. Louis hired me as a consultant, and I was in charge of the design. So I went from operations to design of the signaling system, substations, vehicles, and fare collection equipment, and skids. I worked there about 10 years, and at the end of the project, they asked me to run the system as an employee under contract with my company. So I actually ran the St. Louis system and started out in '93. And I trained their staff, and they moved on. Then I moved to, worked in London, and I worked in, helped start up the system in Baltimore, Sacramento, Salt Lake City as the activation director. I moved to Orlando, which was my last place I moved physically, because we had a full funding grant commitment. And at the very end, believe it or not, politics got involved and killed a full funding grant commitment, which would have had this line open and extended by now, probably up to 30 or 40 miles.
From where to where?
It would have gone from downtown Orlando down to 2 years on International Drive, and I bet they wish they had it because it would help them get the high-speed rail connection. So Rick Thorpe hired me to run the engineering and the operation startup for the Foothill project, the Gold Line today. I was involved in the design of that. And when he left, I took over the extension to Monrovia and beyond, and oversaw the preliminary engineering. And during that time, Metro asked me when Gerald Francis quit to run the operation. So I started with operations, got involved in planning, engineering, construction, and now I'm back to operations. It's kind of a unique perspective, seeing all the different things. This has been a unique one for me because I've always started new systems up. It's the first time I've taken over an aging system, which has a number of challenges. At the same time, opening up 2 lines over the next 12 to 16 months and planning for 5 others in the next 10 years. So it's quite a challenge. With that introduction, you said on your email that you could talk frankly, so ask anything you like, Mark.
All right. Well, I think before we open it to questions, and if there's a consensus that we want to ask a lot of questions, maybe you can perhaps tell us about the Gold Line and the Gold Line. There's 2 Gold Lines. You were involved in the opening of Gold Line Foothill, and then that one sort of had all these obstacles, like 6 months because of grade crossing issues, and then all of a sudden it opened, I guess, 6 years ago, and pretty much on time, on budget. This one is on budget. And then all of a sudden, when it was turned over from the constructors to the operators, all of a sudden, I'm not sure what happened with the playbook, but some things happened. That's kind of like we're sort of interested in hearing where things went good when you were involved one time and then they didn't go good the next time.
Okay, for those who don't know, there was a desire to open up the line on June 28th. Is everybody aware of that?
Upstairs. No stairs.
initially the line was supposed to open on June 28th. And I did a detailed evaluation of the line. Substations, I don't know if you know this, substation 5 blew up twice. And there's a lot of problems, and it wasn't ready to open. And there's really 3 departments in charge. It had to make a unanimous decision: construction, safety, and operations. I stood up and said it wasn't ready, and it wasn't ready. It just wasn't. I won, and then Art came in and brought a peer review that confirmed my belief that it just wasn't ready. There's a lot of things that aren't done, and they're still not done. So what we did, we sorted out the safety-related issues. Like tomorrow, we have a workaround at 9 o'clock in the morning at the construction trailer. Safety has to be addressed, and will be done before the opening. And there are some safety issues. I don't know what detail you want to get into, but they will be addressed before the opening on the 15th. Then there's the workaround issues, which we have, and then we'll be on the opening date. So I saw the paper today. I saw what Gloria said. I heard what she said at the board meeting. I'm just going to repeat what Art Leahy said. I believe it will be safe to open on the 15th. I concur with my boss. And if you all know that we've been running the revenue service in one shape or another since October 4th, we're running tonight. We're running a normal service. We have not had an accident. I believe we will. It is a street operation. The good and the bad news is that the line is very slow. It takes about the same amount of time to from Union Station to Sierra Madre as it does from Union Station to Pomona, and it's less than half the line. So it is a slow line. That's the bad news. The good news is that means trains can stop faster, because trains can stop a lot faster than this last line. But I feel comfortable with November 15th opening. Safety department does now, and there's going to be more activities after we open, like we're going to be fencing up to stop jaywalkers. That will be done for 8 to 10 months. And then there's talk about putting quad gates in, like we have on the Gold Line. I'll let construction address that issue. So that's kind of a high level.
Daniel? I'm concerned about the in between the cars, the space in between the cars. Are they going to have a
Between car barriers?
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, today I drove the line, and we've got them up from Union Station to Indiana, and they'll be finished before the opening. Halfway done now.
Great, thank you.
The background of people that don't know what this is, could you just kind of explain that?
Yeah, actually, it's an amazing story. With twin car barriers. It's like, wait a minute, Nancy has a question.
Oh, then continue with the subject, and I'll change it.
You know, I've never seen anything so highly contested as these. If you've been on the line, you'll see these yellow series of bollards. And you would
Not
think,
Matthews.
years ago, the ADA Act required that any high-level platform would protect the middle of the cars. If you have 2 cars together, you have to put some kind of a barrier. It was initially, the desire was to put them on the car itself. But they do it in New York. They do it in New York City. And the problem is every light rail vehicle has a different shape or design. And so it's turned to be very difficult to put between car barriers on the car themselves. It moves with the train. And to make a long story short, we came up with this idea, get the federal government to approve it, and eventually the California Public Utilities Commission. Why don't we just put these bollards on the platform instead of on the train, and then I could take care of all the lines very quickly. And it was finally agreed to after many months. And I found out that the visual impaired like them for 2 reasons. It provides more of a solid barrier because it's about 30 inches high. Whereas on the trains, they were so low you could actually trip over them into the train. So it's more of a positive stop. And I also understand that if I had 12 of these, they're using the last one to pace down to where the doors are, so they'll use them as a door finder as well. So they've been very popular. And we are moving to advance them, put them on the red and the purple line as well. We're doing some evaluation. It's not as simple as you think because the red line and the purple line stop automatically. We have 2 and 4